Hey guys, how we doing? So we're doing another Super Eye Patch Wolf video. I really liked the Fall of Bleach video that he did that we watched. When was it? A couple of weeks ago. I was looking through his videos and this really caught my eye because I remember when I first started getting into anime when I was at uni. This was one of the first movies that I watched that was an anime, and yeah, I just thought it was amazing, and this would be something that I'd always annoy my people that come around our uni house. I'd be like, "Oh my god, watch this," and they'd all be like, "Whoa, that's sick!" And it was one of these things that got us all into anime and that. So I seen this, I thought, yeah, let's check it out. So I apologise if this is a bit different to what we do normally, but I freaking love Perfect Blue, and the Bleach video was good, so this is going to be interesting, I think. So let's do this. Why Perfect Blue is terrifying.
Satoshi Kon is a man obsessed with duality.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it in his truth-crossed, hysteria-ridden world of paranoia agents, in the mishmash of dreamscape and waking existence of Paprika, or even in the struggle of fiction versus reality in his original manga, Opus.
Not Red Opus.
He's always seemed like a creator intensely focused on exploring what it is to exist in two separate states of being. And
Strange
my
stuff.
personal favourite example of this is in his 1997 debut film Perfect Blue,
So
a
good.
nightmarish look at the duality that exists between the person and the avatar.
Oh.
We are obsessed with our avatars, the representation of ourselves that exist purely online. Most of us have multiple different accounts dedicated to perpetuating this idea of who we are and what we represent.
Who we are.
We pour hours every day into grooming and preening this make-believe instance of us, making sure that the perfect version of ourselves is put forward for the world to see. In fact, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you might have the distinct sense that you know me. And you do. That is to say, you know the fictional, highly scripted, highly edited
online
character
version
that the actual person behind this channel uses to voice his ideals. I'm not even really speaking to you right now. I am reading text off a Word document into a microphone.
Very good, that's really cool.
I'm not real. What you're hearing right now is an avatar.
Wow.
And one that exists in an ocean of
This is a clever way of
billions
putting it together, I like this.
And the question Perfect Blue asks is, what happens when we lose control of our avatars? When they become an entity in and of themselves, and they start shaping who we are.
We are, yeah.
From the opening moments of Perfect Blue, it's obvious that, like a lot of Kon's work, it's drawing little to no inspiration from the standard concept of anime at the time. The distinctly bold, highly stylized aesthetic features of 90s anime are nowhere to be seen here. Instead, Perfect Blue renders its characters with a more pulled-back, realistic quality.
That's what I really liked about
and there's even several
this.
shots that seem to toy with this concept.
Yeah.
Very few people in Perfect Blue's world are meant to be attractive or stylized. Most of them just look like regular people.
Bland.
And the ones that don't, the ones who stand out as being beautiful, are those with professions like actor and pop idol. Which means that the world Perfect Blue presents to us feels real.
Yeah.
Not all that different from our own, meaning that when terrible things start to happen, it's harder to distance yourself from it. There's an unromantic, deeply unsettling quality to the violence portrayed in the world of Perfect Blue. It's not a struggle of heroes and villains, but a conflict of attacker and victim.
Yeah.
At the center of this world is Mima Kirigoe, a young idol singer and part of the group Cham, who in the opening scene announces that she's leaving behind her career as a pop star in order to pursue life as an actress.
That was the one.
A decision that does not go down well with some of her more die-hard
weird
fans.
scenes.
But one that also sets off within her a deeper struggle, some darker part of herself that refuses to let her move on. This struggle soon starts to take physical form as a ghostly doppelganger dressed in Mima's old pop idol clothing begins to appear in her everyday life.
Yeah.
And in a way that only Satoshi Kon could achieve, reality itself begins to swim, and what's real and what's not soon become nearly indistinguishable as scenes bleed into one another, and Mima quickly begins to lose her grasp on who she actually is and what her life is.
But the way
about,
it's done as well, it confuses
all the
us
while
as
being pursued by what
person
seems
watching
to be
it as well.
a violent stalker.
It becomes hard to
Unlike
tell
a lot of
what's real
horror,
and what's
Mima's
not
struggle never
whilst
feels
watching it.
voyeuristic. It's upsetting watching these things happen to her, and the reason for this is how well the film establishes her as a character. In its 81 minutes of runtime, it does a great job of characterizing Mima as an actual person, without clumsy exposition or forced dialogue. And a big part of this is the way the film conveys her dual nature as both a pop star and as a regular person, cleverly shown in the film's opening moments as we cut back and forth between an energetic pop sequence of her performing on stage and simple, quiet, nearly mundane shots of her picking up groceries and living out her day-to-day life. As a pop star, she's constantly bombarded by screaming fans and press, but it's in the scenes by herself that we start to understand who she actually is. Which is why, towards the start of the movie, we get a nearly 4-minute long unbroken sequence of just Mima by herself in her apartment. And I love this scene. Look at the detail that's gone into Mima's environments. The stuffed animals, the fish tank, the posters, the PlayStation under her TV. While not saying anything directly about her, it does convey that she's a real person with a real
Makes
home.
it seem real.
And seeing her in her environment like this creates a level of subtle intimacy and familiarity with the character, as it all has such a personal, lived-in feel to it, which not only serves as a great setup for one of the most disturbing and unsettling scares later on, but also gives us a distinct sense of familiarity with who Mima is, which means that when the film eventually starts to warp that identity, it feels all the more wrong. This isn't the only instance of Coen using environment to convey Mima's character. In the beginning of the film, there's nearly a washed-out, plain look to a lot of Mima's surroundings. Any warm colours or tones are restrained and comforting, but as Mima's story grows progressively darker, the colours in her environment grow harsher and more saturated, to the point that they become overpowering, bathing her in deeply intense hues, like the strikingly lit strip club scene later on, in which Mima must act out a gruesome rape scene as part of her new TV show. This is the scene that serves to sever the ties between Mima's old existence as a pop star and her new one as an actress, and the way the colours of this scene are handled is amazing, as it creates this great visual metaphor for Mima's transformation, as we literally see her in a new light. As the film progresses, there's also several scenes that depict Mima in a highly sexualized way, but for each one, we're viewing Mima through the eyes of someone else, and what's striking is the difference between how these scenes portray Mima versus the ones where she's alone or by herself. In fact, it's in these scenes that she herself voiceably expresses her extreme upset at being portrayed this way. And this is the primary fear that Perfect Blue expresses: people perceiving us in ways that we don't choose, and that perception becoming reality. This is the kind of fear Perfect Blue deals in. While there are moments of intense and frightening violence, including, yes, that screwdriver scene, what the film really achieves is in conveying that we are literally watching someone losing grasp of who they are. Which is horrifying, because if you take away someone's identity, then what's left?
There's nothing.
As the story moves on, Mima's life continues to spin out of control. Scenes start to bleed together and locations swim. Scenes that seem to take place in Mima's personal everyday life are revealed to be part of her double-line TV show.
I loved it.
And as the tension of the film ramps up, these cuts grow increasingly more jarring, with Mima herself unable to keep track of what version of her reality she's in. It actually makes for quite a disorientating third quarter of the movie, and while I'm sure many people will come away with their own take on what's happening here, I think trying to figure it out is in itself missing the point. Perfect Blue is not a puzzle to be solved, but a story to be experienced. And what this kind of filmmaking does is put us right in Mima's shoes, as, like her, for us, the narrative lines between what's real and what's not begin to blur, and Mima's life spirals into a whirlwind of disembodied events and strange otherworldly characters. All the while knowing that somewhere in this mishmash of realities, a very real danger lies. The most direct form this danger takes is with the infamous stalker character, Mr. Mimane, a character with only a couple of words of dialogue throughout the entire movie, and yet still someone who is so intensely frightening and memorable. He starts the film as a Mimarin superfan, where he's helping out at the Cham concert, and it's here we get one of my favourite shots in all of cinema, as he holds the image of Mima directly in his hand. And in this single 3-second cut, Kon represents everything we need to know about this character and how he sees Mima. Not as a person, but as an avatar.
Object, yeah.
He believes in the fictional concept of Mimarin created by Mima and her producers. And when that concept is taken away by Mima's shift in career, he reacts violently, stalking Mima and attacking those around her, unable to handle that the idea that the fictional avatar he built up in his head doesn't match the real-life person. Disturbingly raising the idea that the only time our avatars can really take hold is when other people believe in them.
Yeah.
What's truly bizarre about Mr. Mamane's character now, though, is that this same scenario actually played out in reality during the production of Perfect Blue. In 1995, Kon and crew began working on adapting the original novel Perfect Blue: A Complete Metamorphosis.
All right.
And a year later was the case of the infamous Bjork stalker, Ricardo Lopez, a man who became obsessed with the singer Bjork, and chronicles through videotapes his extreme disillusionment in learning that Bjork's personal life and romantic relationships didn't align with his perception of who the singer was. He created an elaborate scheme to send Bjork a package rigged with sulfuric acid with the intent on killing her.
What?
At which point he would commit suicide so that they could be together in the afterlife.
That is so messed up.
Thankfully, the package was intercepted by police and no harm came to the singer, unlike Lopez, who was found dead in his apartment. The final tapes of him are haunting.
Weird.
The reason I bring this up is because this was a real case that actually happened.
I did not know
It's
that.
unlikely that Kon and his crew ever heard about it, as it only came to global prominence recently after doing the rounds on various horror and creepypasta channels.
Oh, right.
But the parallels between it and the story of Perfect
That's so
Blue
weird.
are bizarre and horrifying.
Yeah.
And show that what Kon was trying to say, that the damage that can occur when we lose track of where a person starts and an avatar ends, was a very real thing. And this is why, as the years go by, I only find Perfect Blue more unsettling. I had just turned 12 when I first saw the film. I had just gotten a PlayStation 2, which meant DVDs, which meant anime.
Yeah.
And as me and my cousin put
of
it on late one night, we became utterly baffled by it. We weren't old enough to grasp what the film was actually about, but we had also never experienced things like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. These things didn't exist back then. The concept of public avatars were only possible to traditional celebrities or people with large followings, and this is exactly who Kon made this film about. But now, with the advent of social media, everyone is a micro-celebrity. Everyone has a tiny online following, meaning that the horror conveyed by Perfect Blue is infinitely more relevant today than when it was created. Because now, everyone is an audience, and everyone is a performer. And this is not only why Perfect Blue is terrifying, but why it's more terrifying than it's ever been.
God. This is a good video, man. No. Oh, it's 55 seconds left. Wait.
Friends, thank you for joining me today. As you may have noticed, this video is in glorious 1080p, and that is because I'm working off a new machine I was able to purchase on the incredible support of my extremely generous patrons.
Cool.
Who, once again, I just have to thank so much. If you'd like to help support this channel, then head over to patreon.com/supereyepatchwolf. I will, of course, be back soon with another video, but in the meantime, you can find me on the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, where we'll be discussing Nier Automata, Yakuza 0, as well as a little talk on our OTPs. Or you can come find me on Twitter @eyepatchwolf. Friends, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Cool. Oh, that was a really good video. Really good video. But yeah, if you've not seen Perfect Blue, definitely check it out, because like the transitions between, like you were saying, and stuff is so confusing at times, but then when you realise, it's like, it's as if as everything's blending together with her and she's starting to find it difficult to understand what's real and what's not in her life, we as the viewer are finding it also confusing with her. Very good. Perfect Blue is genius. Like, at the time, it was Perfect Blue, Ninja Scroll that he showed, Akira and Ghost in the Shell, and Blood the Last Vampire. They were like the 5 films that I was like really into at the time, and it just went from there really. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I hope that wasn't too different, but I just seen it and I thought, oh, let's check it out, and hopefully, you know, if you guys haven't seen Perfect Blue, you'll go check it out and you'll enjoy it, and then there's more people that have seen it. Some very valid points there on social issues as well, but anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below, let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, yes, all of you guys, next time.